I'm Aishwarya, and today I will be talking with all of you about, the generative AI and how we can use that and apply it to various aspects of our business. So, just telling you a little bit on the agenda. So, in the beginning, we will be talking about just like the rise of generative AI and how it came to surface and what is like the basic concept on which it is based. And then I will also talk to you about what are some of the applications of generative AI across different parts of the business, like in sales and marketing or in software development teams or IT maintenance teams, and also how it can improve the online retail experience. And then in the end, I will also talk about some of the risks and rewards which come with it. So just talking about the rise of generative AI and it being a technology catalyst. So as you all might know that AI has been quite a buzzword since many years now, since nearly 10 years. And earlier, all the application of AI was very specific. Like AI was used to solve chess games very fast and to solve other kinds of strategy games, for example. And then later on, we saw a lot of AI application towards computer vision, towards identifying numbers in images or identifying the types of objects and stuff like that. But during the past 1.5 years, we saw a big rise in the natural language processing, especially in the generative AI. And if you consider machine learning, so there are mainly three kinds of it. One is supervised, and another is unsupervised, and last one is reinforcement learning. So I will just give you like a very simple summary of it, of how ML models generally work. So there are two kinds of ML models. The first kind would be, or you could say three kinds of ML models. The most basic kind is more like how normal computer programs are, like simple if-else conditions, or where you can write rules and tell the computer how to perform an operation. So this actually doesn't qualify as AI because, like, for example, if you have a calculator at home, so do you think that is an AI? Well, not really, because you can just write simple code for it and it will be able to perform those actions. So that is not really AI. So the most basic kind of ML model which you can have is what we call as the heuristics based model, which is rule based and which can be easily coded. Then slightly more complex are the kinds of ML models where you have a lot of data and you want to predict something. For example, you want to predict what is the stock price going to be in the next month, or you want to predict that you have a lot of user data that generally any user who comes on your website and spends less than 2 minutes on it, then it means that most likely they are not going to buy your product. Or if a user comes in and they spend more than 15 minutes in one session at your website, then maybe they have a chance of converting or purchasing a product from your website. So AI can sort of help you to sort of analyze all your past historical data. You may have data since the past number of years, and it can help you make good predictions that which of your, suppose you're a bank person, so which of your customers is going to default on a loan, or which of your customer is going to cancel your subscription in the next 1 month. So all these kinds of things also AI can do, and this is slightly more complex ML model. And what generative AI is like today's date the most kind of complex ML models which come in the category of deep learning, where the whole process is not based on conditionals or loops or if-else conditions, and it's also not just mere prediction on the historical data, but it is made in a fashion of how human brains work. So human brains have like thousands and thousands of layers, millions and billions, and they constantly predict information and send it to the next node, and then the next node gives the feedback back into the previous node. So it is a constant process of forwarding information in one direction and then receiving feedback. So there are billions and billions of parameters and many, many layers in it, and this is how generative AI works. So this is very close to how human brains also work, but humans' brain are certainly even more complex. So, just quickly glancing through, so some of the important generative AI tools are ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot and Stable Diffusion. And they are most essentially used for automating routine tasks, which are a bit monotonous and which maybe, don't require that much of human thinking in it. And okay, so just quickly going through the economic landscape. So generative AI has been at the forefront since 2023 especially, and just in the first 5 months they saw an investment of more than $12 billion in it, and many startups came up and continue to come up based just on the APIs provided by OpenAI or Hugging Face and all the other kinds of generative AI models, and most of the investment has been mostly in North America. Okay, so now coming to what are some of the use cases which we could apply at our own startups or small and medium-sized businesses and also big corporations. So first is obviously a very clear application is in automating and improving customer operations. So when it comes to all these slides which I'm going to show you, it will be very evident what those slides are just by looking at the image. So if you look at the image here, there is a lady here who has her shopping bags, and there is no one who is doing the billing for her, but it is actually an AI and ML model who is doing the billing. Because if you go to malls and whenever you are checking out, have you noticed that the billing people, they do a lot of repetitive work because they will ask you the same questions. Do you want a paper bag? If you purchase 500 more worth of products, I'm going to give you 300 off on your next shopping, blah blah. So all those things are very automated and very fixed. So clearly that can be sort of automated, and customer can sort of interact with a human-like chatbot, and they can receive personalized responses to complex queries. So obviously, people, there is a lot of fear around AI that, hey, my job is going to be in trouble because of AI and stuff. So that we'll cover in the end. But for now, we'll just take a look at the use cases. And in the customer agent interaction, so you see here is a customer support person, the lady, who is talking with a guy over here, a guy with some customer complaint, most likely. So this lady can sort of use the generative AI and can run it over the entire database and get the entire history of the customer, how many purchases they made in the past few years, what are like the trends and everything. And then based on that, they can sort of provide like a better help response to this customer. Okay, and additionally, generative AI can be used for agent self-improvement. So what do you mean by that? So for example, I'm a customer support person, so I can, talk with you and resolve your queries on a daily basis. But also, I can go back home and do a lot of my homework and see, oh, okay, these are the mistakes I made today in my conversations. These were the areas in which I can improve myself and improve my performance. So these also help us in agent self-improvement for customer support teams. And now, when it comes to improving the efficiency and performance for sales and marketing teams, so first is that suppose I am the head of sales in my department, and then of course, like whatever sales strategy which I will be making, that can essentially be super helpful with the help of generative AI, because what happens is that these days there is a lot of unstructured data everywhere in the combination of videos and blogs and audio and podcasts and this and that and customer reviews, and there is just no fast and efficient way to sort of pinpoint what I want to know. So sales team can sort of effectively utilize by gathering all the data from social media and Google reviews and some of the news articles and customer feedback and stuff, and then based on that they can sort of modify their sales strategy, and they can sort of find out what their weak points are, and they can create their sales strategy accordingly. Okay, and also with they can help create a better awareness amongst their target customer. So like for example, if I am a young person or maybe someone who is in school or someone who is a homemaker or someone who likes to shop things in budget friendly or someone who likes luxury products. So these are all very different kinds of demographics, and what me as a sales team and in the marketing team, I can sort of tailor my campaigns in such a way so as to suit your persona. For example, if you are really technical or if you like traveling or if you like attending events in the city, then I can sort of tailor my campaigns around that and try to provide you catalog of offerings or services which are more relevant for you. And now for me as a customer, suppose I'm not a salesperson, I'm just like a normal person who is wanting to choose between two services or choose between two options. For example, two different kinds of cab services, Ola or Uber, or two different kinds of travel booking services like booking.com or Airbnb. So which one to choose? So generative AI, and I'm pretty sure there are going to be full-fledged customer review generative AI tools coming in very soon, which is going to list what are like the top 10 things about each of those platforms and what suits me. If I'm looking for X kind of experience, then what should I choose? If I'm looking for Y kind of thing, what should I choose? So it helps me as a customer to compare different products and services very well. And then of course like retention. So in the image here you're seeing a girl who is talking to this chatbot. So essentially many of the customer queries can be sort of resolved just by the chatbot alone, and maybe the more complex queries we can route to actual humans. But I'm assuming a lot of it is already automated, and just the coming up of customer support chatbots is going to help optimize the whole processes a lot. Okay, now coming to AI-assisted software engineering. So I'm pretty sure you all must have experimented with ChatGPT and using it to sort of, at least create like a basic draft of your code, if not the actual code. So let us just quickly see how we can apply. Okay, so during the inception and planning, so for example, if you are a product manager or maybe someone who decides what product or feature you're going to release in the next 1 month or in the next 6 months, and you have hundreds and hundreds of customer requests in your backlog, so how do you take the decision which one to account for? So for that, generative AI can sort of help you scan, and this is especially relevant for very, very big corporations who have thousands of records being added every day in their database. So as a generative AI can sort of help you scan through all those customer feature requests and everything, and can help you better plan that in the next 1 month, let us build this. In the next 6 months, that is what our product roadmap is going to look like, and so on. Okay, and now essentially when it comes to system design, so there are many components. Like in system design you could use, it depends on what use case you have. On some occasions you may need, I don't know, stuff like load balancer, sometimes you may need CDN and stuff like that. So if you are making a product right for the first time, and if it is similar to an existing product, you may already find existing system designs for it. But if it's a completely innovative and new product, then generative AI can help you if you provided the requirements that I want my product to do this, and I require very low latency, or I want 99.99% uptime during the year, the application should always be available and stuff like that. These will be the number of concurrent users I may have and stuff. So if you provide these kind of requirements, generative AI can give you ideas what architecture components you should be incorporating as part of your system design, and help you create a basic layout or structure for it, which obviously you will need to improve, but it can just do the starting basic things for you, just for a starting point. And of course, for coding, so as we have already seen that, we can't really write a very foolproof or very correct code using ChatGPT. But certainly, especially if you're beginning on your coding journey or trying to learn a new tool and technology, because literally there are thousands of tools of technologies, we need to upgrade ourselves every few months. So for that, if you are starting out in any particular tool or technology, you can use generative AI to sort of write drafts for you. And also, if I'm pretty sure there will be tools very soon where you can integrate OpenAI's APIs or some of the general LLM APIs with your code base, and then you can write a query on your code base to help you pinpoint where you might have gone wrong or where a certain piece of code is located. But that of course requires a facility for us to integrate these LLMs with our code base. And especially when it comes to testing, so testing is again if you're doing mobile app testing, for example, so you are using APM or any other frameworks, so a lot of code for that may be quite a repeat of each other, because generally when it comes to QA and testing, there is a lot of repetition element there involved. So a lot of that effort can be sort of automated so that you as a QA engineer or a tester can focus on more complex use cases and test them out, while the generative AI can sort of help you generate these test cases and sort of run these test cases on a regular basis as well, and report to you what went wrong. And lastly, when it comes to IT and maintenance, so generally, we have thousands and thousands of lines worth of logs, system error logs and this and that, and it's a pain to sort of analyze what went wrong and how you can fix it. So if we might be in the IT and maintenance, then we can use generative AI to sort of on system logs or on the performance data to sort of diagnose issues, and also to filter down that, okay, these parts of the code repeatedly fail since the past 1 week or 2 weeks, so maybe this is a very high priority area which we need to fix. So this is where also generative AI can be helpful. Okay, so when it comes to just R&D, so I will quickly glance through it. So generally people who are in the labs, or people if I am a CTO who is responsible for making a solar cleaning panel robot or some other kind of autonomous robot, then generative AI can sort of help me create basic drafts and designs for it, and also help me in the virtual simulation process. Okay, so now coming to the futuristic retail experience, so we are towards the end of our presentation. So when it comes to specifically online shopping or e-commerce, so obviously we have seen that ChatGPT and LLMs help a lot with faster copywriting and creating marketing idea. But at the same time, if you may have noticed, I noticed because I get a lot of mails and I get messages on LinkedIn, and I can see those messages and I know that ChatGPT, this is a ChatGPT message or this is a ChatGPT email. So in no way can generative AI replace human creativity or originality. But when it comes to just running some of the online marketing campaigns related to e-commerce or retail, generative AI can certainly help in coming up with new product designs, and also expand to text to video space of things. Okay, and some of the other value creation opportunities is certainly cross-selling or upselling and collecting insights. So by upselling, we mean that if I'm on your e-commerce website and I just bought a laptop, then it is highly likely that maybe I would also need a laptop skin or a laptop bag or something like that. So, by using generative AI in these domains, one can easily sort of deduce that if a customer bought this, they're more likely to buy this other thing as well, and then we can upsell those products to them. Or if you are looking for something and you don't really find it, then you can instead offer me something else. So for example, if I am on Udemy, for example, or Udacity or Coursera, and I am looking to learn about AI, but the course which I see is really complex and I can't make sense of it and I don't understand a thing in it, so what do you do then? You can suggest me something simpler, maybe like Intro to Data Science or intro to ML, or maybe just introduction to computer programming for that matter. So that is an example of cross-selling. So that is also is very much facilitated with help of generative AI. And lastly, just coming to the risks and rewards. So there has been a lot of, layoffs in the past many months. People, have trouble letting their companies stay afloat. And also on top of that, because of the AI, there's like a lot of fear as to whether AI is going to replace me. So for that question, you can say that 100 years back, machines and factories didn't exist, and people used to, manually stitch clothes and construct vehicles and assemble parts and everything. And when then factories came and industrial revolution happened, then certainly a lot of people got displaced. But then this kind of thing happens every 10, 20 years. Some new technology will come up and people will be very scared. Hey, what's going to happen to us? And are we going to be replaced and so on? So the best way to shield against that is to just upskill yourself and learn new things so that you continue to have original thinking, and you have a unique set of knowledge which you can contribute to people. And coming to the risks, so obviously generative AI is trained on a lot of public data which may or may not have been authorized, and this is especially true for artists. So for example, many DALL-E and Stable Diffusion and many of the other platforms trained their platforms on a lot of artworks and images created by artists which were not authorized to do so. So there is always going to be a question of who has the right to use what I created. So there will be always debates around intellectual property or how accurate the content is by generative AI. So for example, using generative AI to suggest products on e-commerce is a harmless thing, but using generative AI to scan your blood reports and cancer reports to detect what type of cancer you have and what stage of cancer you are in, that's much more risky. Or if you have a lot of bank transactions, thousands and thousands of them, and if you need to predict which of these transactions is possibly a fraud, well, that's a risky thing to do, rather than much more risky than Netflix recommendations, for example. So there is always going to be that risk involved, and to mitigate that, I'm pretty sure there will be some guardrails around that, or some warnings of sort, like ChatGPT also. There is always a statement underneath that text box which says not every ChatGPT may not give accurate results. If you want to find accurate results, please just browse online or research elsewhere. So those kind of disclaimers need to be given. And of course, for sensitive areas like health tech or fintech, generative AI needs to be monitored a bit more. And now just the last slide. Okay, so obviously the problem of unemployment, so that can be solved, and we all are responsible for solving that on our own. So to do that, what you should constantly do is just try to innovate and learn new things. And in general, one needs to upskill oneself every 5 years. So in the beginning, you may have started as an IT admin, then later you became a QA engineer, later you became a full stack developer. Maybe if that starts to get automated, maybe you can become a data scientist. And that is essentially which each one of us needs to do. And if each one of us wants to remain successful in life and sort of not to be threatened by AI at all, so we need to develop a habit of constant learning, so that we always have some unique and original and creative contribution to make to any project, or if we have our own startup, then to that startup. So I think that's pretty much all from my end, and I will take a pause and you can ask questions if you may have, or otherwise we can connect on LinkedIn as well. Thank you very much.